Sigma Alpha 2 heading due south over the city. We're en route. Everything's a go.
This is Control Tower. We have you on radar. Report cargo status of captured Hedgehog aboard. Over.
That's a 10-4. Cargo secured on board and... What?
Didn't copy
Hedgehog
that.
is
Over.
gone. He's taken out everyone aboard and...
What's wrong?
What in the
Come
world?
in. Over.
Freeze! What do you think you're doing? Get that Hedgehog!
Talk about low-budget flights, no food or movies. I'm out of here. I like running better. Yeah!
Attention all units. Suspect seen heading south. Block all major roads and capture the suspect.
Hello guys and welcome to TGN the Game Nerd, the show where I talk about role-play games, and today we're going to be playing Sonic Adventure 2. This is one of the most highly acclaimed Sonic games of all time. It is the sequel to my favorite Sonic game of all time, Sonic Adventure 1. And yeah, this game is a very good successor to that game. I completely messed that up here, but this first level, City Escape, is very iconic with this, snowboarding down the street. And the levels in this game are a bit more linear than the first game, but it doesn't really matter. I sort of made a pun there on accident, because It Doesn't Matter is the name of Sonic the Hedgehog's theme song in this game and the previous game. But yeah, one thing that you might notice about Sonic here is that he has different shoes in this game, because I believe Sega had a brand deal with a shoe company called Soap, and they were like, hey, if you put our shoes on Sonic in your next game, we'll give you a bunch of money. And so they did, and they're very iconic shoes. They even made a reappearance in the most recent Sonic game, Sonic Frontiers, which I love that game, by the way. I'd definitely love to play that game on the channel sometime in the future, so hopefully you guys would be excited for that. Let's see. One thing that is interesting about this game is, for some reason, Big the Cat makes a lot of appearances in this game. I think even back in the day, Sega knew that nobody really liked Big the Cat's missions in the first game. So as a sort of inside joke, they placed him in pretty much every level in this game except for 2. And there are some cutscenes that he's even in. The opening cutscene in the original Dreamcast version contained Big the Cat if you spammed the A button during the opening, or I think if you just pressed it during a certain scene he would appear. But I'm playing the Steam re-release, so that was different. Anyways, another iconic part of this level is right here. If we pass under this part, we get chased by this truck, and you basically just want to try not to get hit by it. I think if you do stop, it will eventually catch up to you and hit you. Whoop, almost got hit right there. If you look to your right there, there's Big the Cat. He makes his first appearance in this game, and I'll be sure to point out every single time he makes an appearance here. Anyways, we just go ahead and jump into that ring, and we get our results screen. Now, a lot of people might let's play this game and try to go for all the A ranks. I, however, suck at this game, so I probably will not get an A rank once. B rank, though, that's pretty good. But yeah, I am not that great at this game, so I probably won't get any A ranks.
This game of tag is boring. I'm out of here. Finally decided to show up, eh? Okay, bring it
Spider
on!
Troop Bigfoot reporting to headquarters. Intruder has been located.
Copy that.
F6T Bigfoot is our first boss. It's this flying mech sort of thing. You just want to stand on top of these cardboard boxes and jump at it. Don't even homing attack it. You can just jump at the cockpit, and usually it'll go ahead and just do that. I just gotta wait for him to come around. You can still homing attack him though, if that makes it easier for you. I beat him so fast that 2 different audio tracks
Take care.
played over each other at the same time.
What?
It all starts with this. A jewel containing the ultimate power.
That's the Chaos Emerald! Now I know what's going on. The military has mistaken me for the likes of you. So, where do you think you're going with that emerald? Say something, you fake hedgehog!
Chaos control!
Wow, he's fast! Hey, it's not his speed, he must be using the Chaos Emerald to warp.
Shadow. I'm the world's ultimate life form. There's no time for games. Farewell.
Good. Shadow, what is it?
Stay where you are! Keep your hands up!
Not again.
Just let it go. You just don't know when to give up, do you?
What are you talking about? That emerald's mine. You got that? The Master Emerald contains special powers that neutralize the energy of the Chaos Emerald. That makes it very powerful.
What the?
What? Thief!
Look who's calling who a thief.
I came here following the signal from the Emerald. If I'm not mistaken, this is the Master Emerald, is it not?
Dr. Eggman.
So that's Dr. Eggman.
Well, I guess I can use it for something. I'll just take it with me. Farewell, knucklehead.
Not if I can help it.
What was that all about? And look what you did to my emerald!
I did that to prevent the Master Emerald from being stolen, you idiot. If it's in pieces, I can restore it. And by the way, that's not your emerald.
Doesn't matter. I'll look into it once I get back to the base.
I despise anyone who takes jewels from me. All the world's gems are mine to keep.
Yeah, we'll see about that, Batgirl.
Stage 02, Wild Canyon, and there is a lot to address here. First of all, new characters. We have Rouge the Bat and Shadow the Hedgehog, 2 very iconic characters that are still around in the franchise to this day. So yeah, this is their first debut game, and of course they'll make a bunch of appearances in the future. And yeah, I enjoy them as characters. They're pretty well liked among the rest of the fan base as well. And yeah, it's great to see them in their first appearance here. Interesting thing about them is that if you'll remember in the first Sonic Adventure game, that game was divided up into 6 stories and eventually converged in the final story, the Supersonic story. And that is sort of what they went for here. Right now I'm playing through the Hero story. There are 2 stories, and you can play either of them right out of the gate. The Hero story or the Dark story. And basically, the Hero story has you shuffling between Sonic levels, Knuckles levels, and Tails levels. And I don't want to spoil yet who we'll play as in the Dark levels, although I kinda did. You know what, I don't think it's really a spoiler because they show it in the opening menu. During the Dark story, we get to play as Shadow, Rouge, and Dr. Eggman, who I want to actually talk about next. He is, his name has always been very strange when it comes to the US, but thankfully in this game and games going forward, I can simply refer to him as Dr. Eggman, because for those who don't know about Dr. Eggman's name, When the first Sonic game came out, in Japan, they referred to him as Dr. Eggman, and they named all of his inventions and robots and mechs after his Eggman name, so you'd have like the Egg Wrecker and stuff like that. However, when the game came over to the West, or, you know, weirdly enough, sometimes Sonic games release in the West first, so I forget exactly which came first, but in the West, he was referred to as Dr. Robotnik, and he was referred to as that in many different pieces of media, such as the Saturday morning cartoon, and Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, and various other Western media. And differences between Eastern and Western media when it comes to Sonic the Hedgehog is also something I want to get into a little bit later in the series, but that's for a bit more down the road. I'll get into that later. One interesting thing to note is that in the previous game, Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles had their own theme songs. All of the different characters had theme songs. But Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles have their theme songs return in this game in remixed versions. And in some cases, I think that they're even better than in the first game. I think that Knuckles' theme is better in the first game, but I still like it in the second game here. I think I do like Sonic's theme, It Doesn't Matter, in this game more than the first game. But again, it's very close. I still do really love the version of his theme from the first game. Now, you might notice that I am kind of just wandering around aimlessly here, and that's not just because I'm focusing on commentary, it's also because it's widely seen by many fans that the treasure hunting stages in this game aren't the greatest, and especially in Sonic Adventure 2, because actually I think I might find the last emerald here, so I'll talk about that in just a bit. Or, no, I guess not. It's really close. Maybe it's on top of here? Yep, there it is. Alright, so I'll talk about differences between the treasure hunting stages in this game and the previous game in just a little bit. But first I'm going to go ahead and let the next cutscene play here.
Not too bad.
There's no mistake about it. This must be the island. It's a secret military base that is reinforced and super strong. It's called Prison Island. I heard the news about it on satellite TV. I still can't believe that Sonic would destroy the military building or rob the bank. Wait for me, okay, Sonic? I'm on my way. What? Hey, look, it's Amy. And Eggman, too. What's Amy doing here? Doesn't matter. I have to help Amy because she's in danger. Tornado transformation!
Our second boss fight against Dr. Eggman. This introduces us to mech stages where we play as Tails, and boss fight already beaten.
This time I'll let you go, but the next time we meet, you won't be so lucky.
Wow, Tails, you did it! But what are you doing here on this island?
I'm the one who should be asking that question. Don't you know it's dangerous here?
I know, but I'm here to save my hero, Sonic.
Again?
Hurry! I know Eggman's up to no good again.
Okay, you stay here and I'll be right back.
Don't leave without me! I want to help Sonic too!
Stage 03, Prison Lane. And I forgot Amy's theme returns in this game, but it does. It's not a remix like Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles' themes, but you know, it's still cool to see returning music from the previous game. It makes it feel like it's a part of a bigger story. A lot of this game actually feels like it's part of one big complete story, and that's why I, not asked, but that's why I suggested that maybe if you wanted to get the most out of this Let's Play, you would go back and see the first Sonic Adventure LP or play the first game for yourself. Because, you know, they were really trying with the story here, trying to make one big cohesive narrative, and, you know, it's cool to see that, and that's why a lot of fans within like the past 10 years sort of got, I don't know if fed up is the right word, but they preferred the adventure era of storytelling when it came to, you know, how they presented the plots of their games, because and this is going to be getting into eras of Sonic games, which, you know, depending on who you ask, there's probably tons of different ideas for what the different eras of Sonic games are. You know, there's the classic era from 1991 to 1997, and then the adventure era from 1998 to, you know, here's how I see it. So the classic era, like I just said, then the adventure era from, you know, actually, scratch what I said previously. The way that I like to see it is I personally like to cut it up into different decades. So 1991 to 2001, so from Sonic 1 to this game basically, or Sonic Advance 1, but this feels more like a definitive conclusion to the first decade. But that's me getting ahead of myself. But Sonic 1 to this game, and then from like Advance and Advance 2 to Sonic Generations is another era. And then from like Sonic 4 Episode 2 to Team Sonic Racing, or Sonic Forces if you just want to go by mainline games, as another era. And then we're sort of in a new era here. But people typically see like the adventure era as like 1998 to 2006-ish. They see that as the adventure era, and people really miss this era of storytelling, and we're sort of seeing it make a comeback recently with the IDW comics and Sonic Frontiers. Anyway, let's go ahead and end the stage.
I did it! That was easy.
Huh? Amy?
Keep your voice down. Have no fear. Amy Rose is here.
How'd you get here?
Well, if you gotta know, I caught a ride with Tails. Are you sure you don't need my help? It looks like you could use it.
The reason I'm in here is because of that fake hedgehog.
You mean that black hedgehog?
Did you see it? Where is it now?
If I tell ya, will you marry me?
No way!
I thought I had you this time. That black hedgehog came here with Dr. Eggman.
So, Eggman's behind this, huh?
What's all that writing on the wall anyway? Did you write that? Wait for me, Sonic! He's such a brat sometimes.
Stage 04, Metal Harbor. This level is awesome. The music's awesome. I'll go ahead and let you take a listen. But yeah, the music's awesome. This level looks awesome. It looks super cool being at this like super industrial place where you're just like barely, you know, not falling into the water. But right up here, we have our first upgrade. We're going to see a lot of these things. They make a return from Sonic Adventure. These are the light shoes. We can do the light speed dash with them. And instead of in Sonic Adventure 1 how you had to store it up and then you can go along the path of the rings, now in this game you just press B and you just go. I'd say that's actually an improvement from the previous game. Sometimes it can be a bit weird because, you know, you'll press B and instead of light speed dashing, you'll just like somersault off the side. But I had that same issue in Adventure 1 sometimes where, you know, I'd charge up, I'd let go, and he'd just completely skip past the rings. But going off what I previously said about storytelling, during the 2010s, all of the games had this same sort of writing style where there was little to no plot, and, you know, first of all, before I get into that, here's this really cool set piece. This rocket is about to launch, and we have to get to the very top and catch a ride on it in order to not be left behind on this island. Snowboarding in this game is always super cool. But yeah, with that, we reached the end of the stage.
Yes!
That was perfectly timed with the music there. That was awesome. But yeah, I keep cutting myself off, but that's because these levels are super short. Once we get to the Knuckles stages, then I'll have a lot more time to actually talk about stuff, because those will probably take me a while.
So far, so good. Hey, that's...
That blue hedgehog again, of all places.
I found you, Faker.
Faker? I think you're the fake hedgehog around here. You're comparing yourself to me? Huh? You're not even good enough to be
I'll
my
make you
fake.
eat those words.
Shadow, our next boss fight. That cutscene that just played of Sonic going, "I found you, Faker," that is an extremely iconic scene that has been memed to death. Also, I love that line from Shadow, "I'm the coolest." It's just so weird and goofy. Anyways, he's dead.
Do you know who I am?
Shadow, what are you doing? Hurry and get back here right now before the island blows up with you on it!
Blows up? Gotta get out of here. Find Amy and Tails right away.
Green Forest, Stage 5. This is quite the intense one considering we have to get off the island in 8 minutes before it explodes. This is such a cool level. It's probably, this or Metal Harbor is probably my favorite Sonic stage in the game. Not to say that future ones are bad or anything, obviously, but, you know, these are just such cool, just, you know, set pieces, and they're fun to go around in. There's probably going to be a stage later in the game where I'm like, oh, okay, this is my favorite stage. But, you know, there are a lot of stages that are my favorite. One thing that's unfortunate about the version of this game that I'm playing, the Steam version, is the cutscenes. Actually, you know what? Sorry, but once again I'm going to be interrupting myself because right over here we have our next upgrade, the Ancient Light. Light attack. To defeat multiple enemies at light speed, press the B button to charge up and then release to destroy nearby enemies. So I believe...
Ready?
So yeah, now returning is, that's what would happen. That's how we would activate the light speed, where he'd get all glowy and he'd be like, ready? And then, you know, once you let go... Okay, that didn't happen because there weren't any enemies nearby, but I believe he says the same thing where he's like, "Go!" You know, I can't do a good Sonic impression. I can't do a good impression of any Sonic characters, really. But back to the thing I was talking about earlier, before we get back to the other thing I was talking about earlier. The version of this game that I'm playing, the 2012 Steam version, it's one of the many re-releases of the game. And you'll remember how in the first Let's Play, how I was like, you gotta play the Dreamcast version. You know, that's the only one that I could play. I didn't make it sound that dramatic, you know, but, you know, I was just like, hey, I'd suggest this version if you want to play it. You know, if you want to play the DX version, that's fine, but for me, Dreamcast is always the way to go. And maybe it's just because I'm not as nostalgic for this game. Like, I still love this game, obviously, but I'm not as nostalgic, you know, because I didn't grow up with this game, or maybe it's just because there aren't too many differences between this game and the original Dreamcast version. But, you know, I'm personally fine with the Steam re-release. But one thing that has changed is lighting in some cutscenes is not as great as it was in the Dreamcast version. And also, what was it I was just going to talk about? I don't know, I already forgot mid-sentence. I'll get back to that when I remember.
Huh, no problem.
Sure feels haunted. There's no time to lose. I have to hurry and find the Master Emerald.
Straight away we have an upgrade over here. You just go ahead and jump into that. We get the shovel claw where we can now dig into walls. We sort of have to relearn the stuff that we learned in the previous game, but that's fine, you know. There are a lot of people who, because this was the first Sonic game to be released on a Nintendo console, the Nintendo GameCube, this was probably a lot of people's first experience with Sonic, let alone Sonic Adventure. So it makes sense that they'd sort of have us just relearn all of these moves. Plus it gives them the chance to explain them without you know, having a move that you didn't even know you had, and without you having to read through a bunch of text to understand all of your moves. We just sort of get that naturally here. But back to what I was saying before about Steam version and Dreamcast version, is I believe in the Dreamcast version, the beat, or the song for Green Forest sort of starts, or at least like the guitar starts, right when you hit the floor, but I think that's sort of desynced in the Steam version, so that's one difference between those. I went ahead and chose the Steam version because A, it's one that I had, and B, you know, it's widescreen, it's HD, and I was fine with playing this one with the DX version. The DX version, you know, just for me, it looks a lot worse. The DX version, I mean, of the first adventure game looks a lot worse to me than the original Sonic Adventure, whereas with Sonic Adventure 2, they look pretty much identical. There are some differences, but to me, this one looks fine, you know. But back to what I was originally saying about, you know, writing and stuff like that. During the 2010s, there was a lot of games released that, you know, because at the time, you know, 06 came out and that sort of destroyed the reputation of all Sonic games, and then Secret Rings came out and buried that further, and then after that there was Unleashed, which, you know, a lot of people nowadays really seem to like that game, and I haven't gotten around to playing it myself, because like the best way to play it is on the new Xbox Series X, and I don't have that console, and I want to wait until there are a lot more games that I'm familiar with that console before I actually hop onto that. But you know, that game at the time when it first released was, from what I remember, people either hated it or thought it was like very mediocre. And then Sonic and the Black Knight came out, which I'm seeing a few more fans of in the modern day. But again, when that came out, people were like, this sucks. And one thing that people pointed to as to why they didn't like stuff in, you know, Sonic games at the time is because they thought that the stories were super bad, which, you know, once again, I haven't played some of the Sonic games from the later 2000s era, so I can't comment on this, what I think of the story, because I haven't experienced that yet. But yeah, once again, it seems like a lot more people like it nowadays. But anyways, so people at the time were just like, Sonic doesn't need to have a story. It just needs to be Blue Hedgehog and Yellow Fox friend, or orange, or whatever color you think Tails is. You know, fight Fat Man and save the day and win. That's all the plot that there needs to be. And once again, the general consensus has changed to, wait, please go back, we want story again. Which I'm glad people are starting to enjoy the stories of these old Sonic Adventure games, and, you know, games from this era. It's always great when games start to receive a bit more appreciation than they did when they first came out. But yeah, what happened was Sega was like, okay, we're listening to the fans. They just want Sonic Adventure, not Sonic Adventure, they just want Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 all over again for the rest of time. And so that's how they got Sonic 4 and Sonic Colors, which, you know, great game, gameplay-wise, but the Wii version, you know, plot was very non-existent, very goofy writing. Not goofy in the adventure sense, goofy in a very different sense. Got Generations, which, again, great game, but the plot of that game was non-existent, basically. I would love to play Sonic Generations on the channel sometime. And then after that we got Sonic Lost World, and then Sonic Boom, which threw the reputation of the franchise down the garbage, and then Sonic Forces, which basically led everyone to say, hey, we want adventure-style sort of storytelling, and that's how we have Frontiers. But yeah, I think that's going to go ahead and be it for this episode, so thank you guys all so much for watching. In the next episode, we're going to go ahead and continue on through the hero story and see what else there is. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!